What have you got for me?
She's a nobody, sir.
Zorn handed Kieran a file. Zorn was a medium-statured man, the most vicious fighter Kieran had ever seen, and as close to a friend as he'd ever been allowed. Zorn had been the first of the 6, and would have been by Kieran's side even without the inherent perks.
Very little power, next to no talent, and as poor as they come. What you pulled up earlier when you searched her license plate is the extent of it.
Sure enough. The same information I saw in the database. Not one detail out of place.
Kieran frowned at the report. He checked the picture again, then the name and address, comparing his own details to what he read.
This can't be right.
He flipped the file closed and chucked the report into the nearest trash container.
She had a lot of power. A high-class 5.
You've never been wrong on the power scale before, sir.
Jack was a tall, robust man who was happiest navigating deep waters. Meanwhile, Donovan crossed his arms. His short, dirty blonde hair spiked in all directions.
Even so, the report says she's a weak Class 2. A weak Class 2 is quite a bit different from a strong Class 5.
I know, Donovan.
The assessment for magical people has been known to be wrong from time to time, but never that wrong.
You said she did fit the part she was playing, sir.
She's definitely poor. A spy or assassin might don ill-fitting, cheap clothes, but the woman's shoes had been worn to the point of distress. They were molded to her feet. That look can't be duplicated by anything but time.
Something a highly skilled and trained assassin, packing enough power to raise your eyebrows, wouldn't need.
You would know, Zorn.
Zorn was such an assassin, when Kieran needed one.
The house has been registered to Alexis since her mother died, and it was registered to her mother nearly since Alexis was born. She's lived there all her life, or so the records have it.
A person with that much power would never be left to their own devices, at least not in that dual society zone.
Thane scratched his chin through his thick brown beard.
Your father would want you to keep tabs on her.
But on paper, she doesn't have that much power.
And there's the rub, Jack.
You said she didn't realize you were following her around the home goods store?
No, she didn't.
Anyone half-trained would have sensed it. Easily.
She left behind a potent trail of magic, like fairy dust. Almost as if she were daring me to follow.
Could it have been a trap?
I thought so.
But you have the resources to combat such an attack.
Exactly. So I saw it through, just to see what she'd do, which turned out to be absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
She only noticed me once I stepped out in plain view. That sort of ignorance can't be faked. Not from me.
Which means she hasn't been trained.
Not a chance. Everything about her checks out, except for her power level and her magic.
What did you say the magic did again?
It felt like she reached into my middle and grabbed hold of my vitals.
Kieran drew a line with his finger down the center of his chest. Then, with fisted hands, he mimed spreading open each side of the line.
I knew one moment of utter primal vulnerability.
You, sir?
Yes, Donovan. But before I could answer in kind, she pulled it away. She didn't seem to know she was doing it.
You said it happened twice?
The second time was when she tried to spray me with mace. When she realized it didn't work, she acted like a sitting duck.
Really?
She was afraid of me. I could sense it.
A person with that kind of magic should never feel afraid.
I know, Jack. I don't know what kind of magic it was, but it was arresting.
Her file says she's a ghost whisperer.
She's no ghost whisperer. I've seen enough of them to know.
And you're about to see another one, sir.
Quite. Let's go.